Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Aquarius energy. We're going to get the cards out for the story, but we're going to kind of read it from a couple different perspectives because people are at different emotional maturity levels in their Aquarius energy. Just as human beings, and they happen to maybe be an Aquarius sun sign, but in Aquarius energy, we could be more caught up in the world, looking like a shining star in the world, being more about ourselves. We could be more in just shadowy energy, prideful, egotistical, immature, self-indulgent, lazy, bossy, controlling, lust, greed. Aquarius energy can kind of have to do with our idea of the dream life, and everybody's idea of the dream life is different, and some people indulge in being more about themselves or more about the world, and other people kind of learn some lessons in life that it's not more about them, and they've learned to look at life from a higher perspective, which is high vibe Aquarius, and maybe work through their fears or their insecurities so they're not so caught up in their head. High vibe energy is about maintaining more balance within yourself, offsetting your fears and your insecurities, having more hope and faith and belief in yourself and in others and in love. And some people aren't there yet. Some people may never get there. And some people harness a much higher Aquarius energy, which could take, decades of their life to get there. But they could look at life from a much higher perspective. They get out of being more consumed with kind of these things of the world and see that there's a higher purpose. And, want to be part of that higher purpose. There's a higher truth and justice to aspire to than just making it more about you or these things of the world. And sometimes we get in some more mismatched relationships at any time in our life where we're just kind of not on the same page as people, what drives and motivates them and what drives and motivates you, and your idea of the dream life and their idea of the dream life is different. And we can, hopefully with some of the people in our life, we can wish them peace and love. Hey, you go do that. That's like, yep, you go do that. And no hard feelings, understanding that we're not all the same. I like to do this, you like to do that. It's harder, though, if it's someone who we've been in a long-term friendship or relationship with or a romantic interest that, at one time we had been on the same page and we thought we were going to stay on the same page. So this might be something that more, with it being Aquarius energy that we're talking about, maybe people who are an Aquarius sun sign, rising, moon, or have significant Aquarius placements in their chart. But if it's something that Aquarius energy at the big picture is dealing with, then it affects all of us. So I'm kind of curious just to read I get out these groupings of cards, but then we have the reason why those grouping of cards came out. And I think we'll just start with that. First, we have the contract card, which is like the justice card. We kind of end over here in the Two of Swords. They're both Libra energy about, what we think is just and fair. And then we have the heart chakra and we have the man holding heart. And the man holding heart can represent male or female, but, what they're taking action on, what they think is just and fair, what they love. And then in between these two is the victory card, which is Leo energy, which can be about our ego. So, there's going to be some people who harness this energy over here in a more shadowy way, and they are kind of more about themselves, more about the world, more about things they indulge in. That's what they love. That's their truth. Libra, I view it as represented by the King of Swords. But Libra, like Aquarius, is air sign energy. What is my truth? What is my dream? How do I view life? What do I think is just and fair? And, we live in a world of duality where you have to make these decisions in your life, and you have free will to align with your being more about yourself or the world, or kind of becoming a little more independent of that, and high vibe energy, willing to work together with other people, inspired in high vibe Leo. of ego, to temper your more egoic nature, competitive nature, prideful nature, defensive nature, immature nature, self-indulgent nature, to be inspired to work together with people from love. Love is to be just and fair. High vibe, Libra. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. Some people don't want to be just and fair. Some people, want it to be more about them, want to be indulged in a relationship. Or even if this could look victorious and successful and loving and have maybe a career that they love, people in their life that they love, if they wouldn't maybe have more status or image, they would be willing to sacrifice that because they're more motivated and inspired in their more worldly egoic nature for these things of the world. Do we all want to move forward in Leo energy where the victory card is kind of like the Six of Wands? We have the Queen of Cups and the Temperance, or the Temple Path card, which is Taurus energy, which is Earth sign energy, which can talk about, that we all want some of these things in the world. We'd all like to be in friendship and relationship. We'd all like to have stability and security. We'd all like to have some people in our life who love us, who are inspiring and encouraging of us. We all kind of want that. But what are we willing, and we all want to maybe look victorious and successful. But it's kind of like, when is enough enough? If we're in relationships or we have, it's one thing if it's a job. Can I love that job? Can I love those people? And in a lot of ways, it seems victorious and successful. But I feel like I'm capable of more. Well, then some people might want to have a new beginning. And that would be kind of listening to their intuition. The Two of Swords of Libra energy can be listening to your intuition. Life is about kind of growing and healing and maturing yourself to your full potential in a way, which is high vibe Leo. From truth and love, can I be in a job or career that I love and I love the people? Yes. But would I stay there more out of fear of doing things differently? That can be more because of my ego, shadowy Leo energy, and afraid to make a choice in the Two of Swords. And so then we could stay in a holding pattern for quite a long time. And the angel of balance is kind of like trying to balance out our emotions about the fact that there are some things and people in our life that we love. But if we're kind of ready to move forward and have a new beginning, if it was friendship or romantic, we'd offer truth and love and encouragement to those people to move forward with us, because our intuition and just, wanting to feel proud of ourselves that I didn't give up on my dreams, which is what Aquarius energy is about, more out of fear of believing in myself, right? Some people aren't willing to face our fears. The truth sets us free. And Leo energy of the sun can talk about we have to see the truth of things that could manipulate us. Or we'll keep kind of staying stuck, repeating an old pattern. And, part of it could be that, again, we could want other people to move forward in our life in a certain way. And like, we don't want to move forward without them. But what if those people never are more willing to see some truth that might manipulate them? And though we could love them, we could kind of feel stuck in a relationship with them or a workplace because we could see some things that we maybe don't like about it, that we could think are a little shadowy, And if the other people are like, no, this is great, let's keep doing this. The angel of balance being like the temperance card, it can kind of feel like we're continuing to have to balance out our emotions about being in a situation where we feel like people are operating more from their ego nature. And because we love them, or we love that job, or other people at the job, we stay stuck in it. And we wish things would get more balanced out. And we don't feel like it's just and fair and balanced. And eventually, some people will just keep staying, living their life a certain way, hoping things will change. Other people are willing, to see the truth that things aren't going to change. And the Two of Swords can be that we can be dealing with some people that don't want to see the truth. And then they in turn don't want us to see the truth. If they harness these energies in a more shadowy way, which we're going to get to in a minute, they could think, well, you should indulge me, or you should, because you love me. Sometimes we can have people in our life that we love them, and then because we love them, they keep kind of being unwilling to see the truth about something that we might, in our Libra energy of self, not think is just and fair. And they're like, well, I don't want to see the truth. I want to stay in denial of the truth. You should stay in denial of the truth. And then we can just keep moving forward the way we've been moving forward. It's like we can stay in denial of the truth for a long time because we would like it to work out. But when being stuck feels too much, that we're not feeling like we're getting justice, and we don't feel maybe that people are being more authentic and motivated and inspired by love, that it's something else that kind of drives and motivates them, eventually we might not be able to stay in denial of the truth anymore. And kind of out of love for ourselves, I need to reveal my truth, which people have maybe told people before. If this doesn't seem to be more just, fair, balanced, authentic, and loving, or things change, I need to go. I can't keep staying here feeling stuck. Well, that's what loving people can do in a relationship. They don't just like, oh, that's not the way I wanted it. No, I'm going to leave. And they don't maybe act hurtful or unkind or anything like that. And so then kind of the shadowy people in their life just keep thinking, oh yeah, they've said that before. They'll just keep doing it. One day Judgment Day comes, and that's like high vibe Taurus energy. Walking the talk, your truth. And eventually, even though some people have some love for some people in their life, out of also love for themselves, and kind of standing up for what they believe in, which is kind of high vibe Taurus, I have offered truth and love and encouragement to people to work together with them in a just and fair way. And I can no longer stay in denial. My intuition is telling me it's time to move on from this situation. So at any time in our life, we could have habits. The shadowy energy could just be our own shadowy nature. Some of our fears, our insecurities, our self-limiting beliefs. Then we could have our more immature nature, prideful nature, whatever. And then we probably have people in our life who we hang out with and, are kind of on that same page. And when we kind of decide, I don't want to do that anymore, well, then we might communicate with some of the people in our life. I'm not going to do that anymore. I don't want to keep living my life like that. I want to move forward in life differently. I maybe have done some work within myself to kind of figure out why I maybe keep doing these things, why I keep kind of staying stuck. And I've kind of maybe balanced out my emotions, is what the Temperance card can talk about. Are there things about the way I live my life and some people in my life that I like and I enjoy? Yes. But is it moving my life forward, or does it keep me more stuck? And if I don't want to keep staying stuck, seeing the truth can be, there's some things I maybe need to quit investing time, energy, and effort into. If there's certain thoughts and emotions, it doesn't mean to stay in, like, ignore those thoughts and emotions. But if I have certain thoughts and emotions that I sit in that stop me from moving forward more, the Six of Wands in the Victory card can talk about moving forward victoriously and successfully. The Temperance card is kind of moving forward, looking at life as an adventure, that life is all about these lessons to be learned in high vibe. I need to counteract, and that's like harnessing high vibe Libra. If I do have certain thoughts and emotions or things I do or people I hang out with that stop me from moving forward in maybe a more balanced way or just moving forward in my life, I need to equally, just and fair, equally spend as much time maybe sitting in other thoughts and emotions or activities or people or patterns and things that I invest in that also move my life forward. It's like trying to find balance in your life. Do I like some of these things I might like to indulge myself in? Whatever that could be. Yeah. So should I sit and do those things all day when that doesn't move my life forward? That's kind of tipped out of balance. And if I see the truth of that, well, then maybe there's a time and a place for doing some of those things that I like to do and just having more balance in my life. And I equally put some work and effort into the thoughts, the emotions, the activities, the habits, the patterns, the activities that also equally move my life forward. So I can have a balance of both in my life. But we can get tipped out of balance where we're indulging poor behavior in ourselves or others. So let's see what could be going on in Aquarius energy. We have the anxiety card, the action card, which I view as Sagittarius energy, like the angel of balance or the temperance card, and the third chakra, which I view as Leo energy. And the reason it came out is because of the contract, which I view as Libra energy. If we're going to move forward in life in a more balanced way, we do have to see the truth. And whether some people could kind of realize it or not, well, for one, Leo energy, also represented by the Sun card, we kind of have to give birth to doing things differently. Well, what if we lack inspiration to do things differently? Well, then we're going to probably keep doing what we're doing, and we won't move forward differently. And that can be the difference between people. Some people are kind of inspired, when things get them too much up in their head. Sagittarius energy can be about, I want to wrap my brain around this, because Sagittarius is about higher learning and education. Why do some of these things have me so much up in my head? Why do these things manipulate me to the degree that they do? I want to feel more balance within myself. But again, you have to be inspired to even want, when you see that things seem to kind of be out of balance and things kind of have you up in your head, you have to be someone who's inspired to kind of get to the truth. I want to see the truth of this. I want to understand this. I want things to be more just and fair. And there can be other people in the world who, I don't know, they lack inspiration to even want to get to the truth, might lack inspiration about even getting more balance within themselves, because if they were to get more balance within themselves, then they would probably move forward in life a little differently. And some people could just have a lot of fear of moving forward in life differently. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. And so then they can just keep staying up in their head about things because, and maybe, shadowy energy could be wanting to stay in denial of the truth, that they might not even realize, some people, that their fear of taking more inspired action in their life, maybe standing up for themselves and, illuminating the truth about how they think, how they feel. what they'd really like to do, who and what they'd really like to invest their time, energy, and effort into, or just doing love. The anxiety card reminds me of the Eight of Swords, which is Gemini energy, which can be in your dualistic nature, because Gemini represents our dualistic nature. I do like to live more from my mind than my heart. It can be the truth for some people. It makes them feel balanced and stable and kind of grounded within themselves. And that's kind of how they want to move forward in life. And they could get in relationships with people who don't live more from their mind than their heart, who harness this energy differently in their Gemini nature of free will. They're kind of more motivated and inspired by truth and love. Well, what do you do if you get in a more mismatched relationship? One person feels comfortable living more from their mind than their heart, a little fearful and defensive of love, so they're inspired in their more shadowy Leo energy to operate from their more self-protective, defensive nature. And I view Libra as the King of Swords, which can be a person's more self-protective, defensive nature. You can't go out there. We can't let our more hopeful, believing, just, fair, balanced nature out to play in the world. They could get hurt. And so they emotionally kind of imprison their more emotional, more authentic, loving nature, and they decide to let their more defensive, egoic nature run their life. They've decided that's just and fair. But do they also think it's just and fair if there's someone who's defensive to being more open and authentic and loving? High vibe like Aquarius, Leo, Libra, Gemini, Sagittarius. Do they think it's just and fair to go get in a relationship with someone who doesn't live their life like that? You be just and fair and open and loving and vulnerable, and I want to be in a relationship with you. That'd be great. I think that's just and fair. Well, the people who are more open and authentic and vulnerable and just and fair and loving want to be in relationships with other people who are. That might be something they don't want to see the truth of. You know, just like some people, shadowy Sagittarius, that anyone can harness, people can be more immature and self-indulgent. Shadowy Leo, that anyone can harness, they could be more full of themselves, more bossy, more controlling. Some people have these ideas of whatever way to treat people, and they think it's just and fair. Well, do they go get in relationships with people who think that same way and act that same way? Or do they try to go get in relationships with people who aren't like that, and then they're the one who gets to be like that? And they think it's just and fair. You know, it's kind of... But some people don't want to see the truth. Well, I want to be immature. Well, I want to be bossy and controlling or manipulative or prideful or egotistical. I don't want to be in a relationship with someone else like that. But I think people should indulge me being that way. Well, those are some people who might have some growing up and maturing to do to see the light. And so some other people could distance themselves from them and get out of friendships or relationships with them. And then they're going to go on a journey to go find someone else to get in a relationship with. And if they think it's just and fair to get in relationships and try to maybe create an illusion that they're more just and fair and loving and nurturing and authentic and less shadowy, the same thing's going to happen again. You know, eventually the people who have learned some of these lessons in life, who have tempered their more immature egoic nature to work together with people in a more just and fair way, are going to move on. And they could always be stressed out. Maybe can't even understand it. Why don't those people want to be in friendship or relationship with me? Well, they could keep staying in denial of the truth all their life. You know, and some people do. They don't realize that some other people find them kind of obnoxious or controlling or whatever, you know? And they might have to go, you know, as people move on, you know, it's just to go find someone else to maybe create an illusion with. That's shadowy Leo energy, kind of trying to, and shadowy Gemini, and shadowy Libra, and shadowy Sagittarius that anyone can harness. I have an idea. From the 8 down to the 2, the difference is the 6 of Swords, which is Aquarius energy. I have this dream I want to bring into reality. I want what other people have. I want friendship and relationship and have a job and have all these things of the world. But they don't want to see the truth, that their truth is it's a little bit more about them or the ego or the image or the status or to indulge in it or just how it benefits them. It's more of a self-interest. And other people kind of learn some lessons along the way that they didn't learn. And those people are more inspired to work together with people who are more just and fair and being authentic and have learned these lessons in life. So, more immature people are going to move forward. And, everybody on the spectrum right now is motivated and inspired to give birth, is kind of what the third chakra of life force energy. Everybody wants to give birth to what they want to give birth to. And they're maybe going to communicate with people and take action towards people that they think, either if they're shadowy, that they think they're on the same page as them, or someone they think they can manipulate. The high vibe people are looking for people who they think are kind of on the same page as them. So everybody is moving forward, trying to give birth to what they want to give birth to, emotionally. Probably inspired by what they love. And some people love to be in a relationship. That feels great. That makes me feel so much better. It makes me look victorious and successful. Some people are very codependent in Taurus energy to get in relationships and friendships because they think, they like that. Makes them feel maybe more balanced within themselves. Viewing the victory card as the 6 of Wands. The 6s can talk about balance because there's 12 zodiac signs and we have our dualistic nature. And so it helps them feel more balanced within themselves between their high vibe nature and their more shadowy nature. And it probably creates the illusion they're more balanced within themselves. And some people just want to indulge in a relationship to feel better. And they could love being in relationships. It's just some of them are kind of immature. Other people would like to be in friendships and relationships. And also Taurus energy can represent these institutions of the world, like organizations, religious organizations, workplaces, and all of that, right? High vibe people are going to move forward inspired by truth and love. High vibe Taurus, not wanting to indulge himself in their more immature ways of being. When people have repeated a pattern enough times to kind of be illuminated to the truth, oh, is that why I do what I do? If I don't want to be in a relationship with people who are more immature, well, I need to quit investing in people. Ding, ding, ding. The Sun card. I need to listen to my intuition, and though I could meet people and like people, be attracted to people, but I see they're more immature, no, I've already been in relationships with people who are more immature. It's kind of like, you stay in the friend zone. Could I know you? Yeah. Am I going to get in a more involved relationship with you? No. If I've gotten in relationships with people, high vibe Leo, they could be attractive, they could be charming, look victorious or successful in some way. Could I be attracted to them or want to get in a relationship with them? Yes. But if I see that they, again, either kind of more immature or full of themselves or like to live more from their mind than their heart, maybe not very authentic or forthcoming, and shadowy people are trying to use these things of the world that they have in order to tempt people, kind of like the devil, trying to tempt people to get people to be in a relationship with them. And sometimes it's like, oh, don't you see I'm more immature? You should try to change me. Oh, don't you see I have all this stress and worry and fear of love. Aren't you going to come try to change me? Oh, look, I'm more about my ego, my image, and my status. Don't you want to be in a relationship because of those reasons? Don't you want those things of the world? And some people are like, yes, just like everybody else. I could like to be in friendship and relationship and have stability and security in my life. Is that why I'm going to get in a relationship with someone? No, because I've already done that. I've already learned the lesson I needed to learn from things like that. If I plant bad seeds, I'm going to get in a relationship with someone who's happy that I'm making decisions in my life, being more manipulated and tempted in my more worldly nature. I want to be in a relationship. You know, if you're going to be in a romantic relationship, it's supposed to be based on love. And there's some people in the world, they're never going to do love. They're going to live more from their mind than their heart. Maybe be kind of loving, encouraging, and supportive people in a relationship, but you won't have a high vibe Leo relationship. You won't be in a relationship with someone who you can have a more authentic, deep, meaningful relationship with because they never come out from behind their ego. And again, you don't have to be dealing with a Leo. Anybody, no matter what zodiac sign sun sign they are, they all tap into their free will of Gemini, of what they think is just and fair, and they're either more inspired to operate from their defensive, egoic, or immature worldly nature, or more about themselves nature, or they are people who are more authentically in their Gemini, Leo, whatever, to be inspired by love. And if you're more motivated and inspired by love, less about being about you, trying to manipulate and control people, want a just and fair and balanced life where we have a balance. We all want some of these things of the world, and we all should put in work and effort to have some stability and security in our life. And we should all be willing to see where we maybe need to heal or grow or mature ourselves so we keep kind of growing to our full potential instead of in our ego getting stuck in a way of living life and like, I refuse to admit that I have any more growing or healing or maturing to do. I don't need to change. It's like when any of us have went through a phase of life, when we were age 15 and then we were 18 and then we were 21 and then we were 25, we weren't the same person because we'd lived life. We got exposed to different things. We just had more life experience. And as we went along life and we come in contact with all these people to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't, over time, different ways that we used to view life, view ourselves, view others, the opinions we had about the world, what we believed was possible, hopefully got out of some of our more immature, self-centered, egotistical ways of being. We're not the same person. It's kind of like every 3 to 5 years we could come to some realization that, I used to like this, I used to view life that way. I really don't view life that way anymore. Just the same way we did at those younger stages of life. I'm not the same person that I was because the world, I keep being, we just observe the world and we see what other people are doing. We might have had a staunch opinion about one thing at one point in time. Nothing will ever change my opinion. And then life goes by, and sometimes we can have very staunch, strict opinions about things and viewpoints until it kind of hits a little closer to home. And then, it could make us kind of question some of those viewpoints that we had. And, we could be much more judgmental of other people and like, this is the way you're supposed to live your life. And I live my life this way and you're bad and I'm good. And that person's wrong. And then what if somebody goes through something in our life that we love and then, it can kind of make us view things differently. But anyway, everybody's going to move forward based on their philosophy of life at any given moment. Regardless of how old people are, There can be, trust me, 45 to 60-year-old people, and they have the emotional mentality level and interact with people almost like they're in junior high and high school. They're like bitchy, witchy, or bullies, and they're still using that kind of tactics. I was like, oh my gosh, some of you people never grew up and you're still full of yourself and still trying to manipulate and intimidate people. It's just that as people get older, they learn how to cover it up better, probably because of some negative effects. And so that's where the King of Cups can be, where people try to... Everybody can present themselves in the world like a King of Cups. I view the King of Cups as Cancer energy. Everybody can go out in the world saying, oh, I'm motivated and inspired by love. I've learned these lessons in life. I'm not more about myself. I'm not more about me or egotistical or materialistic or just how it benefits me. I don't try to manipulate and control people, but they do. They're just hoping that some of the people that they get in a relationship with haven't been in a relationship with someone like them, or maybe hasn't learned to kind of listen in high vibe Libra to their intuition. And that there's still people who have some lessons to learn, and some of these people are going to come into their life, just like some of those people came into your life, to help those people kind of balance out their emotions and get more clear about their truth. What their truth and truth isn't. So some of you could have left a job, friendship, or relationship with some people. Some other people could have gotten out of a friendship or relationship with you. We're all moving forward. Everybody in their truth, what they're motivated and inspired by, what they view as victorious and successful. It's just that the high vibe people aren't trying to manipulate and control people. They're being authentic, offering people truth and love. Do you want to move forward with me in a more just, fair, balanced, authentic, loving relationship? And, the people in their life who appreciate that, aren't defensive to it, aren't fearful of it. Because some shadowy people, it's like, well, yeah, I'd like to be in a friendship or relationship with you, but can I manipulate you? Can I control you? Will you indulge me in poor behavior? And, sometimes we can just get along with people. We work with them. They're in an organization. They're in our neighborhood. And even though, and we could know people that are just and fair and loving in their own way, but it's kind of like you just live life differently. What you think is just and fair, I think is not. That's not how I want to live my life. But, if that's how you want to live your life, you have the free will to live your life whatever way you want. Can some of those people be very loving people and treat the people in their life in a just and fair way? Treat each other the way they like to be treated? Yeah, but we might feel like some people have a more immature relationship or a more kind of chaotic or whatever. But, and again, it's like 18-year-olds being in a relationship versus maybe 21-year-olds being in a relationship versus maybe 25-year-olds being in a relationship. It is at wherever people are at, kind of in their emotional maturity level. Can those people conduct themselves very well in a relationship? Yeah. Can we interact with them and get along with them? And even the people who really don't, to a degree, just to know people socially, can they like us and we like them, and we can like seeing each other, and we can be loving and encouraging, and there's activities in community that we all enjoy doing, and we can all get along. Do they or us want to be in a more involved relationship with some of those people? No, and they don't with us either, and that's okay. But again, it's more of a problem with some people that we did want to have move forward with us. At one time, it seemed we were moving forward, and, we thought we were all on the same page, and we were motivated and inspired by the same things, and then it kind of gets revealed that someone isn't sure, if they want to keep moving forward like that. There's a lot of things to work out in a friendship or relationship, and we all can have healing and growing and maturing to do, and we could be loving and encouraging and supportive people in a relationship to each other. But it might get to a point where it's kind of outside someone's comfort zone. High vibe Leo is kind of becoming into your own in a way. I'm less manipulated more by the world, which could be the Taurus energy of conforming to the world and being so caught up in that and letting so many things of the world kind of manipulate me and like I should do this and I should do that. Where maybe I did do those things, but maybe other people could they still do those things, want to do some of those things and participate in some of those things? Yes. It just doesn't manipulate them the way it used to. And if they weren't to do it, it wouldn't manipulate them as much. But when if you don't kind of keep doing some of the same things you're doing, some of the people in your life can kind of wonder, well, why aren't you doing this? And why weren't you there? And, even if it was things like people going to the bar, it's like, well, you weren't there on Friday night. Why weren't you there? It's like, I just got kind of tired of it, maybe, I think I decided whatever any other thing that people could invest time, energy, and effort into. And again, some people could feel like, can I love those things? But I think it maybe keeps me stuck. I might need more balance in my life. Some of these things are tipping my life out of balance. I need to take some time, maybe even within myself, to maybe get a little more clear of what my truth is. And, sometimes to kind of get clear about our truth, we do need to take maybe the temple path could mean that, of just taking some time to kind of help us get more clear about, our truth, what motivates and inspires us, where we want to go to next. Let's go look at these two cards that aren't showing themselves. Sometimes we can move forward with people and we both harness those energies the same way. With other people we could get in a friendship or relationship with, we don't realize we harness those energies differently. In our Gemini dualistic nature of truth, kind of more about maybe being motivated by these things of the world or love, the people who are more motivated kind of more for these worldly reasons, well, that's how they view life and they think it's just and fair, so they could think, well, everybody thinks like that. And the people who are more motivated and inspired by love, of course, they think that's just and fair and that's their truth. And they think, well, everybody thinks that way. Isn't everybody motivated and inspired by love? And the other people could be like, isn't everybody kind of looking to get in friendship and relationship with people and kind of taking all these more worldly factors as having more precedent and importance in it? And it's kind of like we can't kind of relate to it. But so then we don't talk about it. And we assume they think like us. They assume we think like them. And we move forward. And can we like each other and have love for each other? Yeah, but our philosophy of life, of what we view as victorious and successful and what drives and motivates us, is different. But we don't know that sometimes till later. Some people have already went through this, seen the truth, and they're kind of working through processing it and then moving on. Other people are in the midst of it. Other people are just getting out. What is it? The first chakra and blossoming abundance. So the first chakra, I kind of view that as kind of at a core foundational level. Have we learned to love ourselves? If we've learned to, which is what I view kind of high vibe Leo, have we learned to be loving and encouraging of ourselves, kind of take over that role of being our own best mother, father, coach voice within ourselves? Otherwise, we could keep staying more codependent, and we look for other people to play that role in our life. And other people at a more core foundational level are more about themselves, loving themselves. And so, kind of a little bit more on the egotistical, narcissistic edge. And they want it to be more about them. And then they could look for other people that might have some mental conflict. Again, haven't learned some lessons like about people like them, to try to get those people to get in a relationship with them, and then hope those people will move forward with them in a relationship. And because it looks victorious and successful in these worldly ways of the world, that even when those people kind of realize that some of the more shadowy people are kind of wearing a false mask, can they like the relationship, want to stay in the relationship? Can they kind of treat other people the way they like to be treated and be loving and encouraging? Yeah. Some of them. But they're never going to come out just from behind their ego and be more authentic. It's kind of like the relationship moves forward, but they want to keep, and they could heal and grow and mature themselves during the course of the relationship in some ways, but to really be more inspired to be in a relationship, letting their more authentic, loving nature out to play in the world, for some, it's like that's where they draw the line. And if you want that, then the relationship can come to an end. And even for some of them, if they're in relationships with people who are healing and growing and maturing themselves, some of them didn't do that, But they're trying to create the illusion that they did. We're either willing to get out of our ego and temper our more immature egoic or whatever way of being, to really learn some lessons in life and detach from some old ways of being. Some people think, well, no, it's just about acting like you did. But then when things come up, they can act in some ways that are quite hurtful or unkind or immature or something, and you just realize they have not learned that lesson. Because some people would be appalled at themselves if they acted or behaved in certain ways. It's like, oh my God, who am I? What am I doing? I feel like I've regressed like 10 years. And they'd be appalled at themselves. The other people, they keep kind of thinking it's just and fair if they wanted to act that way, but they just try to kind of wear this false mask to get along. But eventually, even if they're in a more stable, balanced, loving relationship, if that's not really the truth of who they are, they're kind of wearing a false mask, they're not really being able to live their more authentic life. And eventually some of those people will be like, well, I don't know if I want to keep moving forward in this. Maybe I should go back and do this and, see if I can get away with this and see if the other people feel stuck. And then we can kind of do it more, a little bit more of what I want to do in it, because I didn't really want to do truth and love and justice and fairness, maybe to begin with, or temper my ego or my immature nature or my bossy or controlling ways of being. And if that doesn't work and the other people keep moving forward, eventually they might just want to go get in a relationship with someone else. There's someone over there who seems to be stressed out about moving forward. Maybe they don't know the truth of who I am. I'll go present myself as loving to that person and that they should move forward with me in a relationship, and their dreams will come into reality. And then that person goes on a journey with them to see what they think about it, And some of the people who already got out of relationships with saw the truth, weren't willing to live a life of illusion, saw that love really isn't what drives and motivates some of the people in their life, and they loved and believed in themselves enough not to stay stuck in something that wasn't based on truth and love, They let love and intuition guide them, and they're having new beginnings moving forward. And then as they move forward, they have to work through all of kind of the mental conflict about the fact that some of the people in their life that they have known that at one time they could have viewed differently. And, some of the people in our life, they were kind of going down the path of life, kind of staying between the bumper guards of life. And then, it is at any time, maybe slowly, sometimes drastically, but, people can kind of drift their life off into the ditch. And then they're kind of not who we thought they were. And they're not kind of the same person. They kind of lost their way, right? And we've maybe been there too, so we can kind of relate to that. But, if we were kind of going down life and we thought we were on the same page, and then over time someone's kind of drifting their life off into the ditch, it's like, wait a minute, that's not how I thought it was going to go. And so you can offer truth and love and encouragement to people, but if that seems to be their new truth, well, that's not my truth. And that can be in a more high vibe energy of, I'm not going to be so manipulated by the world that I stay in something that I don't think we're on the same page anymore. Our truth is different. What we think is just and fair is different. What drives and motivates us is different. And so that can be, again, adhering to a higher truth and justice. Between me and God, I don't think this is just and fair anymore. And the world can judge away. I'm not going to wear a false mask out of ego and live a life of illusion and create the illusion something is just and fair when I don't think it's just and fair. And trust that high vibe energy of like the divine wants me to listen to my intuition and be less manipulated by my fear and my insecurity and my ego, to take action in truth and love, and that the divine will work with me to help me balance out my emotions. And if I choose to give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me and walk my talk in truth and love, believing I will get justice, because that is my truth and what I think is just and fair. And while I move forward in my truth, the other people can move forward in their truth. But I know that truth is not my truth anymore. And if I've offered truth and love and encouragement, again, everybody's got free will. If that's not your truth, that's not how you want to live your life, then you should go live your life the way you want to live it. But the way you want to live it isn't aligned with my truth and how I want to live my life. And that's how high vibe people can release themselves from staying up in their head. They just see the truth. I'm willing to deal with the truth. Their truth is different than my truth. What drives and motivates them is different. What they think is just and fair is different. And that sets them free to be able to kind of be able to go on this adventure and move on. Sagittarius can be about moving on in the Eight of Wands. I wish them peace and love, but if I see that they're repeating some pattern, that I've already kind of been there and done that, and I don't want to keep repeating that pattern, but if they're happy living their life like that and repeating that pattern, I can kind of understand it, because I maybe live my life to some degree that way myself. It's just not the way I want to keep moving forward, because I do have this dream. And just like I didn't want to stay an 18-year-old all my life, people can get to a certain stage of life and they never planned and kind of dreamed of ever just being open to listening to their intuition to guide them. No, we got to do this and got to live our life more like these people or more like my family did, or, And some people don't want to become more independent of the world and just be more independent. It's like, what? Leave behind the world and being all caught up in what people think of me? And it's like, people are going to think of you whatever they're going to think of you, more based on who they are. Why not go live your authentic life and go out in the world and treat people the way you like to be treated? Be just and fair, loving and encouraging. But then again, some people, they kind of want to be in relationships where they don't have to deal with some of their own issues that they need to look at. I would rather get in a relationship with someone they have a lot of issues. That's kind of like I'm the more stable, grounded, victorious, enlightened, loving one. And they're the poor ragamuffin I'm in a relationship with. And it's kind of building a false sense of empowerment or ego off of someone else, but they won't realize that till maybe later. But if we get in relationships with people who challenge us to grow and heal and mature ourselves and love ourselves and believe in ourselves, that's when we have the potential to kind of grow to our full potential. And it isn't, where we can really be proud of ourselves, not like I'm kind of, oh, look, this person does this and that person does that. And I know, kind of like, I'm sure you understand, building our ego off of them in a way. And I think everyone could have done that at times in their life, and loving people can definitely do that because they're loving and encouraging people, but they could get in relationships with people who, again, but when we're younger, again, we could have been drawn and attracted to people and have this more hopeful, believing spirit. We had to become illuminated to the truth that some people are more immature. Some people don't want to see the truth. Some people wear a false mask. Some people are prideful and egotistical. But now that we've learned those lessons, it's like, I'm not going to try to change people. I'm going to go out in the world and offer people truth and love, to work together with them cooperatively. If that's not how they want to work cooperatively with me, I'm not going to stay up in my head about it. I wish you peace, and I'm going to move on and work with the people who are more open. Kind of makes me think of Jesus and the disciples going out and spreading the good news. They didn't cry at people's feet and at their door and saying, "That we love you, why don't you want to love us?" or whatever, It's like accepting the truth that people have free will. And if they don't, just like you can have people that, people can want to maybe hang out with you a little bit more, get to know you a little better, and you're like, I'm good. Well, there's going to be people that you want to maybe hang out with and get to know a little better, and they're going to say, I'm good. And we don't really know what it is, but we shouldn't take it personally. Get out of our ego about it. I don't know what it is. I can stay in the energy of peace and love and not take it personally. Maybe they're just dealing with something and maybe issues I don't even know about. And then maybe over time, because I didn't get in my ego about it and act all huffy and puffy, that maybe when those people work through that, maybe they'll approach me and illuminate me to the truth of what was going on in their life. Or we could act out of pride and ego and, well, I'm not going to talk to you at all anymore, or whatever. Kind of just extend some grace, but maybe keep your distance to a degree. What's coming out for people who harness some high vibe Aquarius energy? Some of them could be stressed out because other people are moving forward in their life. Some of those people were people they wanted to be in a relationship with. Might be working together with some people and trying to move things forward. If they had some relationships that didn't work out, they're trying to love and believe in themselves and get out of more codependent energy, believe in themselves, listen to their intuition, work with people who they feel are more just and fair and loving. or appreciate the people in their life, even if some of the people in their life that they felt were that kind of person and could have been that type of person, they're just not in their life anymore. So it's like, well, I'm going to appreciate the people that maybe didn't move away or, are still here, and appreciate those people. Okay, we have 2 cards not showing themselves, and the reason is because of the 3 of Pentacles. Well, the 3 of Pentacles is Capricorn energy, and shadowy Capricorn energy is the devil. So putting in work and effort to free yourself from things that used to manipulate you, things within yourself and outside of yourself. Offering love to yourself, listening to your intuition, acting with character and integrity in ways that you can be proud of. Doing all of that will help free you from some things that used to manipulate you. And when you free yourself from that, harnessing these energies in a more worldly, shadowy way, it kind of helps you let go of people in your life that you kind of had a connection with, but it could have been more in this more worldly, shadowy way. And you've been doing the work to see how those things manipulate you, and what people don't know about you and maybe you don't see coming is you're going to be harnessing those energies in a more high vibrational way. The Knight of Wands and the 6 of Cups. So we all could have been wanting to stay in our comfort zone, and we maybe didn't move forward at one time with people who worked with us in a more just and fair and balanced way. If we weren't used to that, we would be in relationships where it is, again, maybe trying to change other people, because being in relationships with people who do equal give and take with us is like, that's different. I'm not used to that. And we all kind of like to stay in our comfort zone. So we'll kind of, I know how to work with those people. I'm going to go get in a relationship with someone who doesn't do that. But because we'll all repeat patterns until we kind of see the truth that I am repeating a pattern, and I don't want to keep repeating that pattern. So then people get inspired to, in the 6 of Cups, kind of make peace with the past, see the truth of the past, see why we did some of the things we did, see the truth about why some other people did what they did, kind of offer love and compassion and forgiveness to ourselves and others to let it go. And that I want to take the lesson I learned from that with me. And now if I meet people that have certain ways of being, or I'm tempted to act in certain ways, I remember this lesson I learned. And I don't want to put myself back in something that isn't more balanced. Again, the 6s are about balance. Isn't more just, more fair, more authentic, more loving. And so, we all had our more immature nature, and we all repeated patterns of the past, and so do other people. And as you want to get to the truth of it and not repeat certain patterns, you're seeing not to indulge those ways of being within yourself or indulge other people who are kind of repeating some of those patterns. And making peace that everybody is where they're at. Everybody's going to go on their journey to learn their lessons, and if you feel they haven't learned some of the lessons you've learned, you get out of your ego about it, you listen to your intuition, and you maintain balance within yourself, and be inspired to keep moving forward, not wanting to repeat old patterns, letting love and intuition guide you. What's going on for some people, or what's coming up? Oh, and there could be the more immature people who do want to repeat patterns. Yeah, if you keep maintaining balance within yourself and kind of not indulging poor behavior in yourself and others, even though there could be some people in your life that would like to be in friendship or relationship with you, eventually those people will probably go find someone else because you're not willing to repeat that pattern. It has to be just, fair, authentic, loving, You're going to listen to your intuition, not going to indulge poor behavior in yourself or others. And they're like, damn, and they're going to go find someone else because they didn't have good intentions anyway. And the people in your life who know they could go do that, know you could go do that, you're not. You inspire them maybe not to, and they make that free will decision. I want to work together with you. I could do that too, and I don't want to. And some people might not know with those cards not showing themselves that you have reconciled yourself with the past, that you have moved on. There are people in your life that motivate and inspire you to love and believe in yourself. And that you have freed yourself from some other people in your life. It's just maybe not everybody knows your business or sees you clearly. Well, that's okay. What's coming up for people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Aquarius energy that they don't see coming up? Oh, okay. Well, this card, because of the Emperor in reverse. So, well, here we have the Two of Swords, and for the people that are a more shadowy energy, again, they could try to manipulate and control people to try to get them to do what they want, to indulge them in their ego, think that those people will be up in their head about them, and maybe know those people are more just and fair and loving and wanted this dream to come into reality, so they could try to use the love that those people have for them to try to manipulate them. Well, some people should have listened to their intuition, and it kind of becomes illuminated that they should have listened to their intuition, because they could have tried to manipulate someone who was being authentic and loving and just and fair. Those people harness their Emperor energy in a high vibe way, and those people aren't willing to stay in a relationship with them. And they've had a high vibe person kind of like leave their life. Why? Because of the Queen of Pentacles, Taurus energy. Those people could care for them, could like them, could love them, wish them the best. But those people aren't going to keep staying stuck. The Emperor makes a decision, and the other people might not want to listen to their intuition and make a decision based on truth and love and justice and fairness, and the other people do. And also the people in their life who at one time hadn't wanted to make a decision. That could be the Emperor in reverse. Why? Because they could have loved these people. But eventually, some people stay stuck forever. They never want to have to make a decision while other people make their decisions. You know, if there's some shadowy people in the world, they could want some people in their life. Some of the people were more just and fair and loving. But that relationship could have not worked out. Those people move forward. They get in relationships with other people, but thinking some of the loving people are going to want to come back and be in a relationship with them. They also could have some more worldly, shadowy people in their life, which, you know, for ego and image and status reasons, they may be willing to get back in a relationship with those people. But the problem is with some of these people, when they get in relationship with people, some of them can't decide what they want to do, what their truth is. And that can be the Two of Swords. Like, I'm still in two minds about what my truth is. Well, they're dealing with other people who do know what their truth is. And the more loving people decided, if these people kind of thought they were more about the world or ego or image or themselves or not being a good leader, unwilling to make decisions, unwilling to be more authentic and loving, the other people decided, you know, they didn't want to be in a relationship with them. They're not who they thought they were. out of love for themselves and they move on. If they were in relationships with people who were more about willing to be in a relationship and stay in a relationship, more for the, more of these worldly based reasons. This would be good for me. This would be good for you. We'd have status, ego, image. Well, then some of those people can't decide, well, that would be great, but now we're both kind of we're both people who are kind of more about those things, and we're both kind of wearing a false mask, and nobody's really investing in love. And so then they have a problem moving forward with those people. Well, then those people move on. We have free will to pick this or pick that, or somewhere on the spectrum. Are you more motivated by truth and love, or more it being about you, or more about these things of the world? And some people, they just can't make a decision. And some of them won't make a decision. And it could always just be waiting for other people to approach them. And that could be a little bit an ego. I think high vibe people, they're not as much in their ego. They're willing to communicate with people in their life. Hey, I had growing up and healing and maturing to do. Not like you got to tell everybody all your business, but if there was someone that a relationship didn't work out, or a friendship, once they kind of see the truth of kind of what was going on and manipulating them anyway, they're willing to reveal that truth to other people. Admit they're a fallible human being. Some of the shadowy people are unwilling to do that. They're unwilling to make a decision because that could maybe require them to emotionally invest in the truth and maybe reveal the truth. And some people are unwilling to do that. So if some of those people in their life made some mistakes with some people in their life, even if now they could see, oh shit, that was immature. Oh yeah, I was an idiot. Yeah, I had some growing up to do. They're too unwilling to admit that they made mistakes in life. So they kind of keep moving forward. Again, they could be hoping maybe that other people that they've been in relationships with will want to come back and get in a relationship with them. And again, it could be a little bit of ego. I mean, people can be loving and just people and hope that other people grow up and mature themselves. But, anybody else that we deal with, are those people more prideful? Are those people more fearful? So it's kind of like high vibe energy wants us to just see the truth, accept the truth of where it is, and keep moving forward, having hope and faith and belief in your dreams. If there's some people not making a decision to move towards you, it could be because of a truth you don't know the truth of. There can be a lot of things that manipulate people that we don't know about. I mean, in tarot, we talk about them. I mean, there might be people who you never thought are more stressed out about being more bold and brave and confident, at least in love. They might, again, seem like people who really enjoy being in relationships, and you enjoyed if you were in a relationship with them. But to be more authentic and come out and be vulnerable, that could really be fearful for some people. Oh, got an alarm on my phone. For other people, they could be more immature than we realized they were. Some people could be more about themselves than we realized. Some people could be more materialistic than we realized. Image and status conscious than we realized. More codependent on people in their life than we realized. So, trust and believe the divine has a plan for you. I think if some of the shadowy people were... Sometimes people can try to social climb, to maybe want to look like a boss in the Emperor card, look victorious and successful in ego and image and status and money. If that's more what drives and motivates them, eventually, the truth is revealed. Other people could see when people are in relationships where It's more about one person indulging someone or the other, or they're equally indulging each other out of their fear or their insecurity or their pride or their ego or their immaturity. And for some people who are kind of being players, they could have a hard time finding people who want to be in a relationship with them eventually, which is like people not wanting to emotionally invest in them because there's someone who has had the opportunity to make some of those decisions in the past and they haven't. Doesn't mean those people have to be seeing them clearly. They might try to hide that they're more materialistic, but, again, one thing they can't control, no matter their status or their image that they have, other people listen to their intuition, and other people could know that other people don't want to have to take other people into account. They just want to make decisions that are more about themselves. And the Emperor is Aries energy, which is about the self. And in reverse, it can be in extremes. And some people are really about themselves. And even if they are in a relationship with people, it just has to be more about them. And they could be hiding the truth that some other people they were in relationship with, that they maybe were going to marry at one time or did marry, left because those people saw the truth. Shadowy energy can be trying to confuse people about the truth of who they are. Other people are being truthful and authentic, and they're not trying to confuse people about the truth of who they are, but the shadowy people are. And they could keep thinking they can get away with it, but, eventually the truth rises to the surface. And for some people who thought they were also the boss of the world, because they might not think that there's a higher truth or justice to play at in this world. There is no higher power, but there is. And they thought they were the boss, and that they didn't have to invest in the truth, and that they would move forward victoriously and successfully. And in a lot of ways, if we put work and effort to have stability or security or status or image, we can have those worldly things. But some of those people, they had the opportunity to be a good leader in the world from truth and love and justice and fairness, and they forfeited that to look like a boss in the world, more about themselves. They weren't willing to invest in truth and love, and there's going to be other people in their life who see that. Even though it could look good by worldly standards, there's some people in their life that see the truth of it. I don't think this is based on truth and love, and some of those people are going to move away from them and kind of distance themselves from them because they kind of don't want to create an illusion about who this person is, because they're no longer an illusion about who they are. And they'll ultimately probably be surrounded more with other people who are kind of more about themselves or more codependent, don't want to grow up and mature themselves, don't want to invest in the truth, so they invest in making their life about these other things for these other purposes. They could have learned to love themselves and invest in growing and healing and maturing themselves, but they didn't, and they chose to invest in their ego and maybe be a little more stubborn, and thought they could just go out and wear a false mask in the world, that they didn't need to heal and grow and mature themselves. And I don't think it's going to quite work out the way they thought. And they're thinking they can move forward. You can always move forward in a new job, a new friendship, a new relationship. Can it look more victorious or successful? Yeah, but they haven't changed. So they're still bringing them to whatever is the new thing they're trying to manifest. And it's just the same thing over, just a different location, different relationship, different friendship. Other people really did free themselves from an old way of being. They changed. They were illuminated to some truth. They shed a layer of their more immature, egoic, codependent, defensive, heartbroken nature, whatever it was. Those people are different. They gave birth to a new them. And they're trying to create the illusion they did. So, but they didn't learn the lesson. So they're going to have to go repeat an old pattern. They just don't realize it yet. And I'll be like, how in the hell did I end up here again? It's like, because you didn't learn the lesson you were meant to learn. So there you go, Aquarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.